Dungeons. Probably one of the most complicated and quite frankly, stressful things you could do inside of Hypixel Skyblock. Not because of its difficulty, but because of the wrath of other players. If you don't understand mechanics, you're sure to unfortunately get bombarded with people telling you you're not ready yet. So this video is for those of you who need a dungeon mechanics guide. It won't give a detailed guide for gear, but I will briefly explain when you need to swap. If you guys want an in-depth dungeon gear guide, let me know in the comments. Every floor has a phase before the boss fight we call the clearing phase. You have several goals during this phase. Class selection is first. This video is going to use Berserker until floor 5 because it's the cheapest and most viable class until you get to floor 5 in my opinion. Someone needs to work on blood rushing. Blood rushing is usually done by a hype mage or an archer, but if a fast blood rusher isn't available, anybody can fill this role. But it's basically when a person runs to the blood room to open it up so all the enemies in the blood room can spawn before the clearing phase is finished. Following the wither doors leads you to the blood room and you have to clear a room to open the wither doors/blood room. This saves time because enemies can take a while to spawn. However, it's usually not important on the first 2 to 3 floors. It just helps things go faster. If you're not blood rushing, or when you finish blood rushing, clearing rooms is the next important step. You can do this usually by killing the mini boss, killing all the enemies with a star next to their name, or if it's a puzzle room, clearing the puzzle. Secrets are an important part for your score, which I'll go over later. There are so many different kinds of secrets that there's no way for me to go over all of them in this video. The best way to easily learn secrets is to get a client that has a dungeon assisting modules. I've left 2 different clients in the links in the description. At the very end of the run, you'll be given a score for your dungeon run based off your dungeon time, your party's deaths, and the amount of room clearing and secrets you've done. The better the rank, the better the rewards. However, S+ doesn't matter until floor 5. You're unable to get S+ if you don't have a score of 300, and you at least need most of the secrets done and all the rooms cleared, and very few deaths for this kind of score. You can do the entrance once you hit combat level 15. The entrance is the easiest floor and therefore can simply be done with slight armor and a decent weapon. The entrance doesn't have any boss rooms, so it's a great opportunity to practice clearing mechanics. Start to understand the rooms that spawn, move your way around them, and just use this to practice and level up your kata level to have way better stats. Floor 1 is the first real floor that you'll have to do. You'll want strong dragon armor and an aspect of the dragon. You'll also want to start dungeonizing it, which you can do by going up to the NPC in Dungeon Hub and go into the dungeonization section. The boss fight is pretty simple. During phase 1, you just attack him. When he falls down and gets back up, the whole party needs to get behind the pillars when he gets to the middle and screams showtime. When the balloons stop, go back and attack him until he's finally down. Floor 2 is another simple boss fight. On the outskirts of the boss room, 4 adventurers will awaken from the tombs. The first adventurer to take out should be the priest. After that, everyone else will be easy to take out. When they all fall, they'll come back up, except this time Scarf will be attacking you. Take the preacher out first, again, then the other 3. After that, you can all focus on Scarf. If you're having problems killing Scarf, it might be time to improve magic power, upgrade your gear, level up your skills, or go to an earlier floor and level your kata level. Floor 3 is one of the fastest boss battles if you have good damage. There are 4 pillars with guardians in each of them, and each guardian has its own ability, but you won't have to worry about that if you take them out fast enough. They'll revive if you can't keep all 4 of them down at once. Once you kill all 4 of them, attack Professor until he's down. After that, they will combine with the boss, and then you just attack him until he dies. Floor 4 is one of the hardest floors. I'd highly recommend working on skills, MP, and making sure all your gear is 5 stars. It might also be worth it to swap your chestplate out with a Zombie Knight chestplate at this point. During floor 4, you're basically going to kill all the animals that spawn, avoid chickens and bats, until the spirit bear spawns. When the spirit bear spawns, kill it, take the spear bow, and hit Thorn. Side note, it'd be a lot easier if you stun Thorn using a tribal spear. After Thorn gets hit 4 times, you'll win. This floor and the future floors are pretty profitable, so make sure you start getting S if you haven't already. The difficulty jump between floor 4 and 5 is a pretty big jump in my opinion. I would try your best to get a carry and then swap to Shadow Assassin armor with a Livid Dagger, if you want to continue as a Berserker. If not, do some research on the class you want to play and begin planning on what you want to do. Floor 5's boss fight is nice and simple. Livid will talk. After it goes black, look at the roof. The color the wool changes to is the color of the real Livid. Try to kill him as fast as possible. Floor 6 is your final taste of easy boss mechanics, so enjoy it. During the boss fight, you will usually go center, but try to just be wherever the rest of your party is. A tank is pretty much a requirement for this floor. The first phase, a bunch of clay golems will spawn. You should also go ahead and wake up the golems during this phase. Do not wake them up while he's talking. This makes his dialogue take longer and will usually make your dungeon teammates mad. After they come back to life, this is kind of a big theme. Almost like they're necromancers or something. Kill them again, then he'll let out his giants. Take them out, then he'll combine with a 5th and final giant. Kill the giant, and then you're good to go. Floor 7 is, well, It's the hardest and most complicated dungeon. Imagine floor 6 is an elementary school baseball game, and floor 7 is the big leagues. On top of that, people care about floor 7 the most because it's a long dungeon and has the biggest possible rewards. It's usually hard to practice without pissing off some higher level guys, and in their defense, it is a long dungeon, and watching it get thrown is kinda stressful. But that's why this video is here. I highly recommend leveling up your skills, kata, and working on MP before thinking about floor 7. But when you are ready, it could also help to join a Discord server to find some people to practice boss mechanics with. If you want, my server is in the description, and I pride myself in having an extremely helpful community. I also highly recommend getting an F7 carry and swapping to your respective gear, depending on what you're playing. Necron for Arch/Burrs, Healer too, but make sure you have a Reaper Mask, Goldor with a Reaper Mask for tank. You also probably want a clear set as a tank, Storm with Wither Goggles for mages. But without further ado, let's get to it. During phase 1, your goal is to defeat Maxor. You'll first notice you can't teleport to this floor. Mages can use Jerry Sheen guns in corners to get up to the crystals or use a Withercloak sword and a Bonzo staff. You can do so by using the lava as a bounce pad with a Withercloak sword and then turn around, jump, and set off Bonzo staff. Archer/Burrs should only do Bonzo staff/Withercloak sword. Tank needs to take aggro on Maxor and try to keep him near the laser. After the laser has been charged up with the crystals, you can all attack him. Rinse, wash, and repeat one more time, and then you're on to phase 2. The next boss is Storm. When you get down, run to the green pillar, killing as many Withermancers as possible on the way. It speeds up the run. Then stay under the pillar until after his countdown. After that, someone will pat, usually Mage. Patting is when someone gets to the other side and presses this green button to crush Storm. You can usually get to the other side by using your Withercloak sword and bouncing in lava, or using your Bonzo staff. Once on the other side, you'll quickly crush Storm whenever he's under the pillar. After Storm's lightning countdown, everybody else should immediately get out from under the pillar so they don't get crushed and die. Swap to the yellow pillar. If you can try and get to the yellow pad ASAP, you can usually crush Storm before his second countdown. If you can't, just stay under the yellow pillar until after his countdown and then crush him and attack him again. After that, go to the red pillar where a hole will open up. Goldor is the hardest phase of the 4. When you get down, you'll notice a few things. On the bottom layers, there are terminals, each with a different kind of puzzle you have to solve, and a few other things. You solve this terminal by pressing all the red boxes. You solve this one by pressing all the numbers in order. You do this terminal by clicking on all the items that start with the given letter. In this one, basically click until everything is one color. If you're using a solver, which I highly recommend, left click positive numbers and right click negative numbers. Finally, you do this one by matching it with the panes. There are also 4 devices you'll do in each phase. Phase 1 is Simon Says. Click on the buttons in the order of the lights. Phase 2 is Lights. Click the middle 2 and then all 4 corners. Phase 3 is Arrow Path. Connect the arrows in a line and get it to the end. Final phase has Sharpshooter, which is pretty easy. Just stand on the pressure plate and hit the emerald box. Finally, there's levers at the end. You can usually get to them by bouncing in the lava, but there's 2 you can either use Spring Boots or Jerry Sheen gun to get to. Usually tanks do devices. Everyone else splits up terminals, and whoever gets to the lever first does them. Having a Bonzo mask really helps on this phase to ensure you don't all die. Finally, Necron. Do enough damage and he'll teleport to the middle. Then just shoot or attack him until he's dead, but make sure not to be too close so you don't kill your tank. And that's it. That's the complete dungeon guide. Have any thoughts? Leave a comment. If you guys want to check me out on Twitch, feel free to click the link in the description, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hope to see you next time.